travel insurance consultant data says that there's an uptick in locals travelling globally once again. TIC also cautioned, though, that South Africans on a key travel items that they should never forget when they're travelling, and that's, of course, travel insurance. Now, this, they say, will safeguard against potential issues such as trip cancellations, baggage losses, or emergency medical coverage. Let's unpack this now with Simmy Micheli from Travel Insurance Consultants. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. And perhaps let's start with the post-pandemic travel trend that you have picked up over the last 2 years or so.
I would probably say that the most important thing is the awareness that the pandemic created. The last time we had an uptake on travel insurance was, in fact, 2001, 9/11. Prior to that, only about 30% of travelers globally thought about travel insurance prior to traveling, but the pandemic has definitely sparked the awareness, and nowadays hardly anyone travels without it. And the other thing that's important is that travelers realize that they have to make sure they're traveling with comprehensive cover. And this became evident during the pandemic when travelers had some free cover stashed away that they weren't quite sure about. So it's the awareness and making sure now that you have comprehensive travel insurance.
And what exactly would comprehensive travel insurance look like? Because one would think when planning for a trip, the costs associated with traveling abroad on their own are quite significant, and then there's the consideration of the travel insurance. So what options are there? Is it just the comprehensive offering, or are there different ones, and what exactly do they look like?
No, most travel insurers in South Africa offer a comprehensive cover. Many travelers get a certain amount of complementary cover on certain schemes, either medical aid or a bank. But that's always limited. And when you go out to purchase travel insurance, you'll find that most travel insurance are going to include all the important cover for the travel-related risks. So the heartbeat of travel insurance is going to be your medical cover. Travelers receive or pay for the travel insurance in South African rands, but are receiving cover in foreign currencies. So if you're traveling to the UK or Europe or USA, you're incurring medical costs in foreign currencies, and that can run into the millions quite quickly. And then the other important travel risk that you need to protect is cancellation. It's the investment that you've made on your trip. So, for example, you can't travel just before you're about to leave. You've broken a leg and you're not able to travel. There's certain perils that are going to be insured. And then the third most important risk is the luggage cover. So when one is comparing travel plans, because there are lots of other little benefits, you've got travel delay, you've got cover in the event of a disruption due to weather conditions, there's accidental death cover, but where all the action happens is the medical cover, the cancellation cover, and the luggage cover, and that's what you're comparing when you're looking at plans and deciding which one you're going to go for.
Now, our conversation, you and I, it sounds like it's an option, and it is an option where it's voluntary in many instances, but in some countries it's mandatory to produce a documentation that shows that you do have that cover. Perhaps talk us through that.
Yes, certainly Europe. If you're applying for a visa, many countries, if you're applying for a visa, one of the documents that you have to produce is proof of travel insurance. And this is because if there's a serious medical emergency, and all they're after actually is the medical cover, if there's a serious medical emergency that runs into the millions, the country is now having to look after this traveler, this foreigner that doesn't have travel insurance. So in order to get into any of the European countries and many other popular destinations, for South African travellers, you're going to have to either submit your travel insurance policy with your application for your visa, or take it along with you to present with the authorities when you go through customs.
And then just a final a point of clarity from you, Simmy, if you will. When you are applying for the travel insurance, when should the cover start and when does the cover end?
Okay, so when you purchase your travel insurance, you're purchasing for your trip duration only. So if you're leaving on the 1st of September and coming home on the 10th of September, you will pay a premium for that. But the moment you buy your travel insurance, and that might be 3 or 4 months prior to departure, your cancellation cover kicks in. So if your appendix bursts or your leg breaks prior to departure and you can't travel, you have your cancellation cover in the bank. But the actual premium is calculated on the duration of the journey.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for that clarity and for those insights. Simmy Micheli from Travel Insurance Consultants talking to us about the travel trends that we are seeing post the pandemic and, of course, the importance of taking out travel insurance.